Vietnam Crypto Insights. A lot of busy stuff going on. Another bull cycle week, lots of activity. One of the big news events coming out is that the Fed in the U.S. has lost their mind. The Fed is the entity of global financial elites in the U.S. and got its tentacles all over the U.S. monetary system. It's not a public entity like most people would like to think. It is a privately run cartel, in my opinion. That's what I call it. It's got 12 divisions in 12 different cities. Each one of them has a president that is accountable to the whole body. The FOMC, they call it. They control and dictate monetary policy in conjunction with people in Congress. But a lot of times there's such a disconnect. They don't. One hand is doing something, and the other hand is doing something else. This is why they have some financial crises going on in America right now. The one of the big news stories is that there seems to be a continuation of the bank collapses in the U.S. The first of this year, they collapsed about a week ago, and it's not looking good, man. The Fed in Pennsylvania, I think, moved to shut this one down. $10 billion in deposit and assets. Now, this is number 2 on the list of bank closures in the U.S. This happened yesterday. If this thing accelerates, you could see a whirlwind of negative activities in the U.S. But yeah, this is OCC is they forwarded the matter to the Department of Justice, and they said the agency is looking after investigating the bank for identifying whether it's using false and deceptive bank records and other information, because that bank's capital has been depleted. So some suspicious activity on that one. The overall picture of the financial system in the U.S., which of course affects global policy and global affairs, I should say, is also not looking too good. They're on par, they're on the same level, or actually they're 7 times worse than the 2008 crisis. So, this is why you need crypto in your life, because they've got unrealized losses, lots of unrealized losses. Of course, a lot of this came about when they unexpectedly cut the rate so low and then shifted it really, really high. And a lot of these banks had their, they took all their capital and they put it in these long-term T-bills, thinking they were safe. But when the people start investing in shorter-term, higher interest plays, that didn't bode well for all these banks that had their money long-term and lower interest vehicles, investment vehicles, which is the T-bills. The bank can't adjust. People can't adjust. But yeah, U.S. banks have 7 unrealized losses, sort of 7 times the 2008 crisis. And for those of you who can remember, the 2008 crisis, man, it just caused calamity throughout the world. I remember, in particular, I had a business that was in satellite retail business, and a lot of the times I would, most of my customers had to sign 2-year contracts, get the equipment for free for their homes. And when that 2008, 2009 rolled around, I had a very hard time getting people to sign the 2-year contracts because they didn't know where their situation was going to be, whether it's going to be out of a job, It just doesn't bode well when you have the economy and it's been played with, and toyed with like that by powers that be, and they mess things up, and that came about because of the financial institutions making all these what I call bets, and they were basically betting on collateralized assets and making really really risky bets, and it just caused a domino effect that wasn't good. Yeah, they got bailed out. Financial institutions got bailed out. Some of the entities went down, but the Congress stepped in and bailed them out. Now, if that had been you or I, we probably wouldn't have got bailed out. But yeah, these big banks, man, they play this socialism for us and hard wrought capitalism for everybody else, So it's not a good thing. One other big news, man, is that XRP, man. XRP looks like it's poised to do something. I have no idea what it's going to do. This has been an ongoing story with XRP. But yeah, XRP is poised to do something. There's actually a whale that has purchased about 52 million XRP, man, and I don't know. We haven't done the whale tracker on this to find out who it is. But yeah, they bought 52 million XRP tokens, about $28 million from a South Korean company, Exchange, Bybit. So, obviously they're thinking something big is going to happen to XRP. That is one of the big developments of XRP. Of course, XRP, some of the representatives of XRP was here in Vietnam about a week and a half ago. And they have some pretty good, interesting things that they're rolling out here for this coming year. I was kind of shocked to find out that they're actually pushing for smart contracts. Now that's kind of funny because they've been around. They were like one of the OG chains, man. I think they were like either the second or third chain. They've been around since 2013, I believe. And they just now got the inkling to do smart contracts, and they're supposed to roll that out next year. The other big thing that they have going on with XRP is that they are supposedly utilize XRP on MetaMask, which that's an exciting development. Because, anybody that's messed with XRP, of course, XRP was one of the first tokens that I actually bought, but it has a different architecture. It's not an EVM compatible chain. They're going to adapt that, as I just said. But yeah, they've gotten XRP. Ledger and MetaMask has never been compatible. So if you wanted to send your tokens somewhere, it had to be strictly a Ledger compatible device like Ledger. There's a few other wallets that would handle, but MetaMask never has allowed you to send any XRP tokens. But now here's this technology. I think I'm saying that right. They've made a way for you to actually integrate MetaMask and get your XRP in there. So that's pretty cool. Some other news. BRICS has actually proposed a decentralized payment system, which I thought was kind of interesting because here we are, 2024, after about 14, 15 years after the adoption of Bitcoin, and it's growing and growing. Of course, it's a decentralized payment system, and this is actually what we're in the crypto space, utilizing decentralized blockchains. And they have adopted, or they're trying to adopt, they want to plan on adopting a decentralized payment system. And they actually presented this in Russia. And they did a test. They gave these cards out to some of the visitors. Of course, I guess it was to the people that were privy to the agreements or whatnot, dignitaries. They did a test run with this while they were in Russia having this global meeting. And of course, Russia's pushing for it after all the money, the billions that they've had seized by Euroclear and the West due to their rift with Ukraine and NATO. So the BRICS, what they did is they have introduced this setup, this payment system, a proposal to be implemented. And the way it's supposed to work is it's supposed to be able to allow nations to transact in either local currencies or the currency of their choosing. And they can do this and without having to go through Euroclear, without having to go through buy the dollar first and then do the exchange that way. So they're still working this out. The agreement hasn't been finalized, but I thought it was very interesting because what they did is they allowed the participants in this meeting. They gave them 500 rubles, and then they tested this system, and it works. You know, it's actually they allowed the people to pay with their payment system, which is really interesting. So we may be on the dawn of a new situation, whereas the financial elite in the West don't have total control over everything in every nation and dictating policy and tying it to their currency as a means for control, which I think is a bad idea. People should be able to be free to transact how they want to transact in the world, in my opinion, without one person or one country or a set of elites, set of morality, which, you know, I really don't think a lot of them have much morality with what's going on right now in the Middle East, especially. The thing that we have to be mindful of is that, you know, they're really coming after us with this, and they're realizing that the decentralized system is not really going to bode well for their future control and dominance. And they've gotten, there was actually some regulators up in part of the Minnesota Fed. Now, this has actually been making the rounds in the crypto circles, really big news. They released a paper the other day, which is really, really concerning. They're basically the Minneapolis Fed, which is one of the 12 branches, as I said earlier. They are really trying to. They came out really critical of Bitcoin and the crypto industry as one. I mean, they really went hot and heavy on a really critical analysis. Should be concerning for anybody that's in the U.S. is for Bitcoin. But, you know, de-dollarization is happening. They have, it really, their days are numbered. So what are they trying to do? They're trying to put so much negativity out there and so much policy and so many backdoor tricks like they did with Signature Bank to cut the legs off of crypto adoption. And they made some regulators have made a paper. You know, of course, the Minneapolis Fed, they made a paper. And of course, they're part. They have to do research and analysis on stuff. This is part of their role. But yeah, October 17th, They released papers suggested that they should ban Bitcoin and impose additional taxes on it as a means to help governments sustain their ongoing deficit budgets. And if you dig down into the deep weeds of this paper, man, there's some really odd, extremely bad takes. Jurgen Schaff, I believe I'm saying this guy's name correctly. He warned that latecomers and non-holders could face significant economic disadvantages as a result. He explained that if Bitcoin prices continue to rise without collapse, the wealth gains for early investors come at the expense of those who enter or don't invest at all. So this is how they look at us. If you're investing in crypto, you're taking from them. That makes no sense. So let's put the shoe on the other foot. These guys got all the money, and they are always crying about redistribution of wealth. So if they have gotten the money before everybody else, then what does that say about them? If we were to say this about them, they have basically got their wealth at the expense of us. So, you know, it doesn't, but this explanation, let's put the shoe on the other foot. If that explanation holds true for Bitcoin, doesn't that hold true for these 1/10 of 1%ers that are running the world, running the economy, run the Fed? I mean, this is just hypocritical. And then he goes on to say that Schaff noted the shift in wealth could have lasting effect with early adopters during luxury consumption, while latecomers face financial hardship. The societal effect is real. Missing out on Bitcoin is different than just a lost opportunity. It means actual impoverishment compared to a world without Bitcoin. So, like I said, the shoe on the other foot. Let's sit back and say this. These guys, the 1/10 of 1%, they have had it. They've got financial vehicles to pass down their wealth to their descendants, and a lot of them, some of them are generational, multi-generational wealth. So, should we say that they are the cause for everybody else being impoverished? I mean, this is the hypocritical stuff that they come out with, man. This is what you can't really. This is why you need to get crypto. You need to tune out the noise. These guys are just full of noise and tricks and propaganda because they're missing out. They feel like they're missing out on something. Now all of a sudden, they're crying wolf. They're saying that that's unfair. And you know, a lot of these guys that are part of these entities, their families and their parents or grandparents, great grandparents have been inundated with wealth for multiple generations. And yet here comes a technology that's going to disrupt and change things and allow people, average person, to attain a certain level of freedom and status that's not dictated and controlled by them, and they're crying about it. This is the hypocrisy that's going on right now. But yeah, just know this: if you are in now and they're looking at this now and they're seeing it as a threat, then you are doing the right thing. And it's not about dividing anybody. It's not about making anybody poor. You know, it's just about being aware and adapting. I mean, that's all it is. You can't be mad at somebody for adapting to new technology. If they're late to the game, then they're just late to the game. They should have been investigating this instead of fudding it. All of these big financial entities have been fudding crypto and Bitcoin for years. Oh, it's a scam. It's a scam. It's not worth nothing. It's a scam. It's a scam. Now, all of a sudden, when they see that adoption is actually taking place, They're plotting, scheming on ways to get rid of it. They're putting negative information and propaganda out there that say, oh, it's going to divide, it's going to make some people rich and some people poor. Hello, that's what these elites have been doing and are still doing. They are the ones that are the kingmakers. They're the ones that's building up wealth for certain individuals, and that are darlings of the system, leaving everybody else by the wayside. Keep it short and sweet. We're gonna be out. I'm gonna be doing some interviews this week, and hopefully giving you some more live stuff to the events. Next month we have DevCon. I'll be up there giving some live interviews and some updates as well. But yeah, let's keep it coffee and crypto, and I'll see you next time.